have a favorite record of mine coming to us all the way from 1925, Waring's Pennsylvanians with a bittersweet tune titled, appropriately enough, At the End of the Road. Glenn Jenston here with you as we wind down these final minutes of this final edition of Tunes for All Times. Thanks to our late night time slot, we are also counting down the last minutes until this radio station goes off the air permanently. Since I find myself in the position of being the one to turn out the lights, as it were, I'd like to take advantage of that privilege to leave you, the loyal public radio audience, as well as any other interested parties who may be listening tonight, with a few parting thoughts. But first, let's have a look at the news. All of you who are up late listening on Squirrel Tree Avenue and the surrounding vicinity who may have noticed a drop in your water pressure, that is due to a water main break. The break has been located on the 20 block of Squirrel Tree Avenue. A repair crew is on the way. The Utilities Department estimates several hours until total restoration of service. Hopefully, when you night owls wake up tomorrow morning, you'll have full water pressure. Just an example of the sort of real-time, up-to-date local news you can depend on from this station for the next 10 minutes. I'd like to acknowledge some of the many cards, letters, emails, etc. that we have received here at the station since it was announced last week that we would be ceasing operations due to loss of funding. Millie Roethlisberger writes, I have listened to your station since the day it first went on the air back in 1971. For those of you with poor math skills, that's 54 years ago. Just a little interjection from me. Millie continues, my favorite program on the station is Spotlight on Squirrel Tree Avenue. I was interviewed in 1979 for a story about an unattended truck that rolled down a hill. Millie, who could ever forget that day? It is etched indelibly in my memory, just like the crystal clear recollection of all those Donald Trump campaign signs posted in front of the homes on Squirrel Tree Avenue, including the home of Millie Roethlisberger herself, in front of which was displayed a Trump sign bearing a rather coarsely phrased slogan, if I am not very much mistaken. I suppose in your enthusiasm to imitate the boorishness of the candidate, you simply failed to hear his repeated declarations of his intention to kill the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which was the source of the overwhelming majority of our operating budget. An innocent oversight, surely, on the part of our friend and loyal listener, Millie. Here is an email from Michael Herleman, who writes, so very sorry to hear about the station shutting down. I pause to remark upon the fact that, as I said, this is an email, which implies that Michael is one of the few residents of our listening area with reliable internet access. I tarry a moment longer to observe that Michael Herleman is one of our more well-known citizens, among the most financially prosperous people in the valley, and yet I cannot recall ever having seen his name attached to a contribution to this station, the demise of which has evoked such deep regret from within him. Michael, your condolences are noted. Michael continues, as a source of local news and weather updates, your station has been a precious resource, and its loss to our community is a true tragedy. Yes, what a tragedy it is, although I must add that it is a tragedy of the man-made and totally preventable variety. Unlike a natural disaster such as, for example, the floods, which devastated this region but a short few months ago. I and other broadcasters previously employed at this station were on the air for many hours beyond our scheduled shifts, at times working without pay, in order to provide our community with the latest information regarding evacuation routes and shelter locations. Of course, now that this radio station is about to cease to exist, when the next catastrophic flood occurs, as it inevitably will, you will all have to take your chances and do the best you can on your own. I offer my wishes of good luck to some of you. As I have just touched upon the subject of best wishes, let us take a moment to celebrate a few final birthdays, anniversaries, and other personal milestones from among the listenership. Norma Kipfer of Squirrel Tree Avenue turned 78 years old today. Edgar Hoffman of Squirrel Tree Avenue had his 62nd birthday just yesterday. William and Margaret Ebersold, longtime residents of Squirrel Tree Avenue, are celebrating their 53rd wedding anniversary today. And we also pass on our congratulations to Craig and Eloise von Gunten, whose granddaughter, Patricia, is starting college at West Virginia University later this month. Though the Von Guntens are now happily retired, no doubt we all fondly remember the general store they owned and operated on the corner of Little Spring Road and Squirrel Tree Avenue. Congratulations to all of you. I hope you enjoyed hearing your names said on the radio, because it's never going to happen again. A final check of the news. It looks as though Mishler's chicken farm was raided by agents of Immigration and Customs Enforcement earlier today. 13 employees were arrested and removed under suspicion of being in the country illegally. With the loss of most of his workers, Henry Mishler, proprietor of the farm, says he intends to drastically scale back operations and may be forced to sell off his remaining birds and close down for good in the near future, which would mean the end of the only source of fresh, local poultry in the valley. Another sad turn of events, about which many of our listeners would surely be expressing their dismay on our afternoon call-in show tomorrow, if not for the fact that this station is going off the air forever in just a few minutes. Though, from a purely personal point of view, this is a reason for gratitude. Since the call-in show no longer exists, I will no longer be asked to guest host it when regular host Martin Arnett calls in sick, which means I won't have to cordially field calls from Trump supporters complaining about something they, in their short-sighted ignorance, helped to bring about. Not having to waste another second of my one and only life on this earth choking down your contemptible hypocrisy will at least be a modest blessing. Turning briefly to sports, the game between the Ferndale River Cats and Pickens River Devils has ended in dramatic fashion, with Hutch Hickman driving in the winning run for the River Cats in the bottom of the 13th inning. This will no doubt be welcome news to the many fans of the River Cats in our audience who are unable to listen to or watch the games live due to outside broadcast signals being unable to penetrate this mountainous area. As a longtime follower of the team myself, it's my pleasure to share the final score of a River Cats game one final time. To those of you listening who have been sports fans, I hope you enjoyed it while it lasted. Well, it seems we've reached the end of our broadcast. There's no time for my editorial thoughts after all. In these final moments on the air, I have only this to say. To those of you who have heard and enjoyed and supported this station over the years, without taking it or public broadcasting in general for granted, I offer my everlasting thanks. And to those of you who have supported the current administration, and in doing so have enabled the destruction of this station and the dismantling of public broadcasting, among many other good and beneficial institutions of our country, I offer my sincere wish that I will one day see you in hell, where you will burn for your sins, and I will burn for the sin of having faith in the American people. For the last time, this is Glenn Jenston, signing off. Good evening, and if you see me in public from now on, please leave me alone.
WSQL